All right, let's go, everybody. How we doing? How are we doing? So good to see all of you here. So good to see all of you here. I'm so thankful for all of you joining us. If you're a longtime watcher, if you are a new person, you are welcome here. We are a positive and excited community about Starfield. And man, It is almost here. It's here, but you can't play it yet, probably. But it is here. It is upon us. It is nigh, as they say in the olden day. I am so happy that you are on this stream. This is mainly a Q and answer stream, question and answer. I made the decision not to play while we were chatting because I can barely walk and chew gum at the same time. And so you would either get a horrible stream, you would either get a horrible gameplay from me, or you would get horrible answers. So I decided, you know what, let's just take one at a time. I will be doing a Let's Play a little bit later in the day. When did I say I was going to do that? 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I will be doing a Let's Play, so you can come back then. We're probably just going to take maybe an hour to an hour and a half here and hang out, get excited about the game together. Excuse me. And then tonight at 7, I'm actually going to be hanging out at the official Bethesda launch party on Discord. And so if you want to hang out with us there, it'll be fun. Represent for the Signal channel. I'm going to get to chat here in just a minute, and I'm actually going to be taking my questions from the Discord first, and if we exhaust that in a reasonable amount of time, then I'll try to get to the chat. But if you do have questions about Starfield that you want answered, go to our Discord. There should be a link in the description of this live stream. If not, just go to any one of our videos, and it will definitely be on there. And there is a forum post where you can ask your questions, update them there, and that helps me kind of keep everything structured and nice and organized. All right. Of course, it happened that I get stuff in my throat as soon as I hit live. It's amazing. As soon as you hit live, you get the hiccups, you get burps, you get gas. I mean, this is live internet. It's just great. All right. We had a few people to thank. Thank you so much. I'm going to zoom in here. Going to check my stream settings, make sure everything is sounding good. Is everything looking good, sounding good? Am I loud? Am I quiet? How are we doing? Phantom Doodle, thank you so much for the membership. Premium member. You get your name in the credits, which is honestly pretty cool. I love it. All is fantastic. Awesome. Phantom Doodle, thank you so much. Hello from Portugal. Obrigado, my friend. Oi and obrigado, the only things I remember from my time in Brazil, which it may not even be the same in Portugal. I'm sure there are differences, kind of like Mexico and Spain. So please forgive my ignorance if there is any there. See, Global, welcome to membership. Ty, good to see you here. Ty Buckingham. Thoughts on IGN giving it a 7? Oh, I haven't seen that yet. Oh, are you serious? Of course they did. Oh, it was Ryan McCaffrey too, wasn't it? Who did the review? Was it Ryan? I wonder if he had like a bad like game-breaking or mission-breaking bug or something that tanked the score. How in the world did he give it a 7? Wolfston, welcome to membership. For you members, people who are just joining membership, we do have some exclusive videos available for our members right now. If you just can't wait to get your hands on Starfield yourself, then you can go and see an hour of gameplay. I'll be doing that later on my Let's Play as well, but if you want to be able to pause and go back and look and check and look at all the character creation stuff and look at all the skills as I go through them, you can check that out. There's an hour of gameplay there. There's also about a 25 to 30 minute clip of me building a ship from scratch, from absolutely nothing. I take the builder down to absolutely nothing, then I build a ship there. That one is honestly probably the most helpful. Shipbuilding was a bit clunky, kind of on purpose, but I feel like it's one of those things, if you get into it, you'll start to pick up on the fundamentals, and we'll get into all that later, I'm sure, in questions. And then probably the second most helpful thing is actually, this seems so weird, but I promise it's helpful. I put up maybe like a 15-minute video of the help menu, the in-game help menu and the settings, just because I found myself going to the help menu quite a bit. It actually is really helpful. So that's there for you as well. So if you are just now becoming a member, these are some great perks, some benefits up for you guys. David, good to see you, my friend, from Italy. Always great to see my Italian brothers here and sisters. We got any sisters in the house? Is there a Todd romance scene? I don't even know how to answer that. My apologies. Trying to catch up here on chat. You guys are feisty today. I like it. I like it. I like it. Austin the Stag said, let's see if I can. Yeah. Are you familiar with the philosophical, let's see. Are you familiar with the philosophical thought experiment called Rocco's Basilisk? I believe it to be the inspiration for the Serpent's Cult in Starfield. Interesting. I was actually a philosophy minor in college, if you can believe that, and I do not recall that. That was a long time ago, so please forgive me. If you want to, feel free to expound upon that in the chat. I don't think it'll let you write too much at one time, though, so keep it tight, keep it brief. Making sure I didn't miss any more super chats or anything. So good to see everybody here. More memberships. That's awesome, man. You guys are great. Dakota, welcome to Premium. I think there was another one in here I missed. Ashes Antics, welcome to Starter. Absolutely. Got some good on-demand stuff ready for you guys if on the channel. All right. As Mr. McConaughey says. Okay. I think I'm caught up now, so I will keep an eye on everything. So this is, am I too loud? Am I too quiet? Am I just right? If I'm too loud, as long as it's not clipping, you can turn your volume down. That might be helpful. If I'm too quiet, let me know. You can only turn your volume up so much, and I can turn mine up. Perfecto. Zeke, good to see you here, buddy. Dante, thank you for the super chat. Question, can we launch and land on the Z-axis? Help me out. You probably meant the Z-axis. I'm such a noob. Gosh. Scarface, if you're watching this, can we add that to the stickers? Zealot and Zaxxas. Just Luke here making it happen. Gosh. If you're new here, this is me. I'm just a goober. I'm just a dweeb. I'm just an overweight guy who likes video games. That's about it. Let's see. Okay, so can we land on the Z-axis? This is the last question I'm taking from here. Then we're going to get going in the forum just to give me some structure. But feel free to do super chats. I will come back to those, I promise. Can we launch on the Z-axis? Can we launch and land on the Z-axis? Now, please forgive me. I'm going to need some more context for that, if you will. Give me like an example what that means. And it was Dante. I'll look for you. Don't feel like you got to super chat again, buddy. Jose super chatted. Can we land on the sun or only at night? Oh, you almost got me with that one. That was the best. It was the best $10 joke I've ever heard. Of course, only at night. Duh. When the sun's not shining too bright. All right. Vertically up and down. Hey, hellos. I don't know what that means. Sorry, I don't know what that means. Can you land on a planet on the Z-axis, like in the middle of the sky? I'm sorry. I'm having trouble. Please forgive me if I'm just being stupid. Help me out. I'm going to go to the post-embargo questions. Got a few coming in. Awesome. I'll just go ahead. Let's see. I'm going to start at the bottom because if I go with the newest first, it's going to keep updating and I will never get to it. So, excuse me. Space travel. Can you travel between planets systems manually? How long? Sorry. Loading. How long would it take to travel from one planet to the next closest? Is there enough content in between planets to warrant playing this way? Great question. I wish that I had a better answer for you. Unfortunately, this is definitely something I'm disappointed in, and it makes me curious about IGN's review if this tanked that score. Everything has a loading screen. Excuse me. Pretty much any spot that you could put a loading screen, Bethesda put one. It's unfortunate. I think that I know that they've created an amazing game here. I wish that they would have been more forthcoming and maybe a bit more explained a bit more like why they made these decisions, because I'm sure it wasn't a lazy thing. It most likely had to do with just everything that's going on in their world and simulating everything, and all the coffee cups and wrenches and rugs that you can steal and touch and grab and pick up. I'm sure all that plays into those decisions technically about how many loading screens they had to put in. So no, you cannot free fly from planet to planet. Your flight is pretty much around orbits, and so if you travel to Mars, you can fly around Mars orbit. There may be a star yard there. There may be a derelict ship that you can go and hang out with. But there's never going to be this huge, vast area that you would want to fly, take 5 minutes and fly over there and go see what's happening. It's all pretty much like right where you are. It's still a lot of fun the way they designed it, but definitely not what a lot of people were hoping for. So that goes the same with, you can't fly from planet to planet. You can't fly from system to system. You can't fly, in empty spots in the galaxy. It's all pretty contained in and around what you might call points of interest. So good question there. Dante, I'm so sorry. I want to get your question too, buddy, because I apologize that I'm just like stupid and I'm not getting it. You land on the z-axis. Where'd you go again? It hasn't shown up there. Is up and down. Z-axis is up and down. The ship build upward, not stacked, i.e. Gunstar from the movie The Last Starfighter. So, okay. I think I understand what you're saying now. I took your question as, can you launch and land like from the planet or from a star system on the z-axis? That's why it wasn't making sense to me. You want to know just mechanically, your ship, can you launch from you land and launch from the z-axis as opposed to like coming in? Am I understanding things right now? Yes, you can launch straight up and down. Somebody mentioned, I've seen reviews from Code Access reviewers say that you can fly from planet to planet. It just takes a while. So my experience is that you cannot. I did test it. I left, I set my ship path and left it going from not even planet to planet, but from a moon to a planet, which should be, if they simulated everything and made sure everything was modeled right, that should be closer, right? I was not able to get to. I left it flying for probably close to an hour, and could not get from one point of interest to another. You can see it, but you have to fast travel to there. I'm going to take just a little break, guys. Please forgive me. I'm going to go get a drink and try to get this crap out of my throat. Let me make sure I mute. I'll be right back. Okay, we are back. Thank you guys. My apologies for that. Appreciate your patience. I feel a little bit better now. So yeah, I saw the chat kind of going through as I was working on that. Yeah, so even if you're saying, okay, yeah, you wouldn't get there in an hour. Well, like, review code people, we only had 2 weeks with it. And so even if you started if you were the very first person to get your code and you were flying up until right now, the same path, right, still wouldn't get there. So I don't know how they could say, yes, you can, because they wouldn't have been able to confirm that. Anyways, we will keep moving along with the forum posts. And again, I will come back to super chats and make sure I get those as well if you put those in. Thank you, Born Again Emo, for that question. And y'all keep putting those in the forum on our Discord, and we'll keep answering them. Second question from Kraken King. How many different factions did you encounter, joinable and non-joinable? How many? So I'm just going to say them right now so I can think about them. And somebody asked about spoilers earlier. So I know everyone is sensitive on different levels to spoilers. I will not spoil any main mission, main quest line issues, in anything there past what we've seen in the marketing material. So I will talk a little bit maybe about like the rings. I will talk a little bit about the temples and maybe what they're for. So I may get into a little bit of that mystery, but I will make sure to let you know before I do. Make sure. Actually, I wanted to this morning moved really fast. This was going to be really cheesy, but I wanted to get like green, yellow, and red like papers to be like, okay, this is yellow, the caution. This may be spoilery, and red, I'm definitely not going to talk about that. Or Pete Hines will show up at my door and kick me in the knee. But I was not able to do that, so I'm not as cool as I want to be. All right, now that that's said, how many different factions did you encounter, joinable and non-joinable? I see the big ones are Constellation, right? You could call that a faction because they have their own quest line. The Freestar Collective, Freestar Rangers, the UC. So the United Colonies, kind of the faction you have a quest with them is through the UC Vanguard. And there's kind of an offshoot of that with UC System Defense, and that is where you connect with the Crimson Fleet as well. And Crimson Fleet's another one. One that I was surprised at being a bit more of a player in kind of the galactic scope of things was House of Varun. And I think there's a specific there's a differentiation between the zealots of House Varun and then just House Varun. And so you might, I don't even want to like bring up examples because somebody would get upset, but suffice it to say, there's a little bit of differentiation there, and House of Varun plays a little bit larger role than I had anticipated them playing. As far as factions go, that's about all I encountered. There are more, maybe not that you could join, but there are other powers at play, and I'll stop there. There's my red light. Alex, thank you for the super chat. What are all the starting skills? There are a lot, and there are a lot of good ones. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. If you are a member, you can see the first full hour of gameplay on either YouTube members right now or Patreon. If it's up on Patreon takes forever to load. Here we go. Publish chat. Now it's on Patreon right now. And actually, if you want to see those things, you can join basic membership on Patreon for free right now. It's like a free trial. YouTube doesn't allow me to do that just yet. But you can get a free trial of our basic membership on Patreon, and you can see all those goodies I have up for members right now, if you're interested. All right. And see, got another super chat here. I'm getting distracted. This is bad, guys. You know how I get when I get distracted. Elijah, thank you for the super chat. Seen some mods pop up anywhere downloading. Somebody just mentioned that we had our private Q&A with our producers a little bit ago, and so I mentioned there was already mods up, and that's just wild to me. That's just wild. So I don't know anything about them, but you better believe I'll be covering them on the channel, and more on that to come. More on that to come for sure. Okay. Early game skills. What are the early game skills? What are the skills you found most useful or would recommend for early in the game? Yes, this is a great question. So what I told all the producers earlier was boost pack. Definitely make sure either boost pack is in your starting skills that you get with your background, or it is the first skill that you get when you level up. The game is very much designed for boost packs to be used, and so you don't have to level that up if you don't want to kind of waste your skills down that skill point. But just the first skill is required to use them, and I would imagine if you tried to do it without it, it would be, as frustrating as trying to do like a no-hit run or something like that. It just it's not practical. Definitely boost packs for sure. What did I do? I did commerce and persuasion. I really enjoyed those. However, I would say that probably in your first 10 to 20 hours, you're not accruing enough credits or selling enough like expensive items for the commerce to make a real big effect. It's going to help you accrue credits faster for sure, but it's not going to have as much of an effect earlier in the game when everything's pretty relatively cheap. And so if you're not like all about making the credits, then I would do something else other than commerce for your first playthrough. I did really enjoy the persuasion system. I found myself using that often, maybe at least like once every hour or so, on whether it was an enemy or whether it was a quest moment that could go one direction or another. I found myself using that quite often and really enjoyed that system. It was a good little kind of mini game. Good question. Water traversal. What are the possibilities with water? Are we able to swim, dive, attack fish? Are there other means to traverse water? Boats, special jetpack. Are there underwater environments? I think I see where all this. No, the answer is no. To underwater environments. I was a little disappointed in that so far. There is no way to submerge yourself while swimming. You don't swim underwater. You can swim through water though. There are natural water environments on planets and in spaces. There are natural water environments in towns and cities. And you can swim through those and relax and have fun. And we saw like there's like a resort area where you can hang out by the beach. But as far as going into that water and like submersing and diving down, you cannot do that. There are no boats that I know of yet that travel across water, or submarines or anything like that. I will say be careful whenever you come to water. I've definitely died a couple of times because I didn't realize the water I was in was either toxic or had some sort of microbial stuff going on, which is really cool. You can get suit protection for that stuff, but that's all I'll say. And you mentioned something about fishing. Can you attack fish? Yes, there are aquatic creatures that you can attack and loot. And I'll probably have like some videos out about that fairly soon. Maybe not the first round, but maybe the second round. I'll do some fun stuff with that. Very cool. Good question. All right, that was from St. Nick. All right. How many hours have you logged since you got your review code? I got up to about 60 hours. I would have put 200 hours in if I could. Of course, real life calls, and you only want your children to go to bed without you so many nights a week. My kids are still really, really young and impressionable, and they need their dad, and I need my kids too. And so had to make some choices there. But I've had a blast with Starfield. Every minute I've been in this world, it's lovely. It is lovely. You're gonna love it, guys. All right. On PC, can you use keyboard and mouse alongside a controller, like simultaneously? I don't know. I played on Xbox Series X and had a great experience there. I don't know what you would want to use the controller and keyboard and mouse for simultaneously. But if you can't natively, I'm sure with everything, somebody will make a mod for it, or you can kind of get into the files and program it up. So not natively, no. All right, now I will take a little break from here and come back to Super Chats here in just a minute. Thank you all for sending those in. Zeke said, what was your impression of the opening story? So like the first hour of gameplay, it was good. It was fine. It's a good, I mean, kind of like any, origin story, superhero origin story. Like you could, if you wanted to, you could be critical of the tropes. If you wanted to, you could be cynical about whatever, but just, it's a video game. Just have fun with it. Don't be so, if you are a critic and you're writing a review and you're whatever, that's your job, fine. But if you're just a guy or a girl and you just want to have fun with a video game, like, it's fine. Don't think too much about it. It's fine. All right. Tone, did they get it right? Following Todd's deep depth into tone after playing, what does the tone of the game really feel like? And did they hit it on the head, or was there more or less of that great feeling of tone? They nailed it for sure. It's its own unique thing. It doesn't feel like Star Wars. It doesn't feel like Star Trek. It doesn't feel like Foundation, or it doesn't feel like Dune. Definitely some influences and some inspirations there for sure, but it is its own thing. Absolutely. In the best way. And not in like oh my gosh, I can't believe this is all brand new stuff. It's clearly taking influence and inspirations from other stuff, but it definitely feels like its own thing, and I really like it. I think it's great. And the tone is one of those things where it's kind of like it's a little bit its own thing, but also tone acts as kind of a connective tissue for a lot of themes and a lot of the way that you interact with cities and characters and ships and combat, and so it fits great. The non-explored backgrounds and traits, a list of things that aren't yet available online from character creation section. I doubt there'd be something that will drastically change my plans, but still am really interested in seeing the rest of available choices. All those are up for, you can go look at that now. You can go look at it for free. Go to patreon.com, join the 7-day free trial of the basic, and you can see all the backgrounds and all the traits and all the skills and all the things. But I don't remember off the top of my head now what we saw in the direct and then what we didn't see. I think there were just one or two things. Wanted was one of the backgrounds that we didn't see. I think maybe the only background we didn't see. And then there were a few traits, but that would be the easiest thing. Just go to patreon.com, do that 7-day free trial. As soon as you see what you want to see, you just cancel it. Won't offend me at all. Let's see. And sorry. All right. One more, then we'll go to Super Chats. Thank you guys for sending those in. Shipbuilding question. The ship combat is fun. Probably my favorite part of the whole game right now. Like if I had to take like just a slice of something, everything working together is amazing. But if I had to take just one slice of something, shipbuilding, I would just put that on repeat and play it like an arcade. Very, very fun. Is there a curve model, or excuse me, is there a curve module? Is the picture provided possible to create? And I don't even know how to get that on screen. I'm not going to hold it up to the camera because that never works out. There are different styles of cockpits and different styles of habitats, and they have different forms and different designs, but it's mostly linear. Like, okay, a habitat is going to be a long rectagonal thing, right? Or a cockpit is either going to be like a square or a bridge or something kind of long and rectangular. Rectangular. I don't know my words, guys. Sorry. Rectangular. So you're not going to be able to natively, make something like the USS Enterprise, right, with a big kind of circle on top from Star Trek, or the Millennium Falcon, which is very much kind of circular. But you can definitely, get inspiration from that. And there is a lot of variety. Don't get me wrong. It's not just, you're not all just, sitting there with toothpicks, long and narrow. There are a lot of different vibes and feelings. I mean, you saw in the direct that they made the big mech, right? Or the dumpster fire thing. There are lots of different things. So let's go to Super Chats now, and I'll take a little break from that. Let me make sure I have my place. Okay. Oh, one more. Names Vasco can say, how do they work? So I named my character Signal because I was trying to be clever. And Vasco never once, never once. Sorry, that was loud. It just tickles me. He never once said, hello, Captain Signal. It's not a hard word to, for an AI to say. So my theory is that, like they did with Fallout 4, there are pre-recorded, preset names that are available. And so if you want Vasco to be able to say your name, do something like Howard or Kyle or Matt or, whatever your name is, most likely. If you want to do something like Big Bubba 35, screen name, probably not going to get it. All right, Super Chats. All right. Check stream health real quick. Everything's looking good. We're still on. We've been live for 42 minutes now. Oh, yeah. I came on about 30 minutes ago, though. Awesome. Good to see all 474 of you here. Thank you so much for joining. Getting into Super Chats. We were talking about Starfield. We are happy. We're excited. We're positive. Please, no one trolling in the chats and no one doing spoilers. Believe it or not, I am still being wary of spoilers because I have not got through everything. All right. Okay, we did starter skills. Some mods popped up. I saw that Elijah. I think that's where I am. See, are there only 4 romance options? My short answer is the White Tyson. I do not know for sure. The ones that it seems like I can romance, there are 4 of them, and that's not even necessarily all of Constellation. So I think that's correct, and I'm afraid a lot of your questions I'm going to be like, I don't know. The metaphor I'm using is I have but scratched the surface of the tip of the iceberg. It is so deep, it is so huge, it is so big that 60 hours of play is not a lot. So, but yes, there are 4 good ones, and I will say this: even though there's only 4, if that's a big deal to you, the writing in Starfield is incredible. I absolutely love it. I'm having a great time with these characters. I really enjoy talking with them. I've only really gotten to know Sarah Morgan a little bit and then Barrett a little bit. I'm kind of diving in a little bit to their unique stories, and they seem really interesting. They don't seem kind of the canned companion follower type stories. And so I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised, even with the ones that you don't romance. Like you can still build meaningful friendships with them. It seems like, which is really cool. I mean, that's right. That's natural. All right, Drew, what'd you say, buddy? Black holes at all? Since Todd was very cagey about that in his interview, I imagine there are some in there. I have not encountered any black holes at 60 hours yet. I'm probably about 15 to 20 hours into the main Constellation quest line. I would imagine that's probably where we get into that, but I do not know specifically about black holes. My apologies. John Granat super chatted. Nice name. Can you decorate the interior of your ship? Let me think for a second. Because there are some things you can decorate. I have not been able or taken the time to look for that. I don't think you can decorate the interior of your ship, other than like just bringing things, from the store and an apple or a magazine or shoot, what do they call it? A fire extinguisher. I was looking over at mine. I was like, what is that thing called? Fire extinguisher. Other than just like bringing that in, but there's no like module that I'm going to design this now. But you can design your outpost. You can design your house if you want to. I'll come back to that later. You can design your house. You can design your outpost in kind of more the fashion that you're thinking. Mason Brown super chatted. Thank you for that. So far, what would you give this game out of a 10? I'm as I say in my review, like I'm obviously biased, right? This game has made me money and it hasn't even come out yet. That's crazy. But I love it, and I love doing this, by the way. This is so fun entertaining you all and like helping, kind of keep the community hyped, and even more great things to come. So this is really cool. Thank you for letting me do this. If I tried to be like as unbiased as possible, I could totally see someone who was being very, very critical give it an 8. I'm really interested in the IGN. Did anybody ever? I know Ty mentioned something about that. Does anyone know? Did Ryan McCaffrey do the review? Let me know in the chat. I'll try to keep an eye on it. Did Ryan McCaffrey do the review? So if I had to spacewalk, if I had to give it a review out of 10, I might not give it a 10. But again, this is a game that requires so much time and so much energy that I would say putting anything less than 200 hours in this game, that's an unfair review score. So I don't know how many hours. Dan Stapleton. It's Dan Stapleton. Okay. That name sounds familiar. I'm not super surprised at that. Sorry, I want to keep this stream on track. Right now I would give it a solid 9 out of 10. I think there's a few things that feel a bit clunky, not incomplete, or it doesn't feel like there are any missing features. It doesn't feel like there is anything that was withheld from the game or anything they just couldn't finish, to get it across the finish line. This is a polished game. It runs great, hardly any bugs, very, very reasonable. The only reason you would want to give it maybe like an 8 out of 10 is if you feel like they missed the mark on something where they were trying to design it. It very well could be because of just the segmented nature of everything and the disparity between industry standards now in 2023 and what they've delivered. But again, there's no, I guess you could maybe claim Obsidian, but not to this scale. There's no other developers who are making these kind of games. And so, if you're the only one in your own country, you're the king, right? You get to make the rules. And so until somebody else starts making better Bethesda games than Bethesda makes, like they kind of are the authority on that. So I don't know if that's a fair measurement to judge them against. Good question though. Good question. So I would give it a solid 9 out of 10. As I put more hours into it, I probably won't do my part 2 review until at least I get 200 hours in. And I've rolled multiple characters, tried out the research skill tree, the spaceship skill tree, done all the quest lines, got into New Game Plus, all of that. More of a comprehensive, like, hey, this is what the game is. So solid 9 out of 10 if you had a gun to my head. and I would be happy to give it a 10 out of 10. I think I could argue that pretty well as pretty good as well. But again, trying to be like super unbiased. I think an 8 out of 10 is as low as you could go and still maintain any kind of intellectual integrity. And so I imagine, it's going to get me in trouble here. I imagine IGN is sometimes, I don't know Dan, I don't know him personally, I don't know him professionally, his work, but sometimes reviewers try to be so sophisticated and so learned, so educated, and kind of like too haughty for their own good that it prevents them from enjoying things that are just like, just play the game, just enjoy it, just have fun, So anyway, who am I? I'm not Dan Stapleton, that's for sure. All right, who else? Max Drummer said, super chatted, MX100, thank you so much for 100 Mexican, is that Mexican dollars? Pesos? Thank you for that, if that's true. I have an NVIDIA RTX 2080 Ti and 32 gigabytes of RAM. How will it run? You are asking the wrong YouTuber. I'm so sorry. I know nothing about that. You could tell me you had a gigawatt of buttercream in your computer, and I would say, hey, that sounds great. I'm a console boy. It keeps it simple. They make it run great on that, and I don't have to think about a thing. But I know Dantix. I connected with Dan from the Dantix YouTube channel a little bit. He played on PC and said it was running great. And so I mentioned to him I may throw people his way who have PC questions. I think he uploaded something today. I didn't think he was going to do a review, though, so I don't know. Anyway, let's see. All right, still doing good, making sure my stream is still connected and viewer activity is doing good. All right. Sorry. Okay, we're still good. Coming over here, sorry. Thank you for all the subscribers and the members. See, Brad Halen super chatted €2. Thank you for that. Will it be playable on RTX 2060? Again, I don't know. I'm so sorry. I do know that some notes that I received along with the game code and the review embargoes and instructions and all that, they did specifically mention that to not try to run it on like any handheld device like a Steam Deck or a Rogue Ally, just because like those currently perform below minimum requirements. So look at those minimum requirements, translate that to what you have, and I would not assume that you could squeeze by. It seems like these are pretty hard cut minimum requirements. Good question though. Matthew Smith super chatted, your favorite ship so far? Have you seen the Conqueror? I don't know. Have other players experienced the Conqueror? My favorite ship so far, I acquired one. It was like I think it was an ecliptic ship, and it was a pretty big, long one with lots of room in it, lots of habitats. And I thought, I could throw a lot of storage on here. And so that's exactly what I did. I was just tired of having to sell things. And before I was ready, and I want to keep, a lot of my weapons for specific scenarios and spacesuits and all that stuff and resources. All that has mass to it. And so I acquired this big old ship, and I put a lot of storage onto it. And that's kind of been my main driver for most of the game. And it is a heavy boy. It is a heavy boy, doesn't move fast. I could definitely see having fun. I did try a little bit. I tried creating some little zippy planes or some zippy kind of starfighters. And those were fun for sure, but like you can't store anything on them. And currently there's no way to, if you want to move items from your inventory on your person to your ship's inventory, I don't think there's a way right now to say, okay, move this to ship 2's inventory or move this to ship 3's inventory. It's just whatever your home ship is. I wish that they allowed you to do that, because that would make inventory a little bit easier. There are some things with the Outposts, though, like cargo links that you can connect with your ship somehow. I wasn't able to get into Outposts too deeply, but there are some ways there that you can connect your ship's inventory to cargo links. So maybe there's something there to help. Okay, do just a few more super chats here, then we'll jump back to the forums. Does anyone know about heavy weapon certification, if it affects shotguns? No, it shouldn't affect shotguns. Heavy weapons are heavy weapons, like the kind of the Gatling gun type weapon we saw in the Direct, or any kind of maybe like bazooka, like a grenade launcher type weapon. Those are definitely going to be your heavy weapon types. Okay. Darth Xerxes, do 2 more, Darth and then Drew. Then we'll jump back to the forum. Thank you for the super chats. Without spoiling too much, are the Crimson Fleet more good-natured anarchist or bloodthirsty pirates? Oh, that's a good question. They're not the first. They're not good-natured anarchists. They definitely have maybe like a chip on their shoulder. At the same time, you do get a sense to where maybe there are some good people that kind of got roped in with them, and they're just kind of along for the ride, and so that makes the quest line really interesting as you make your decisions on who to be loyal to and what those outcomes mean for those people. So yeah, good question. I won't say too much, though. And one more from Drew, and then we'll take a break on Super Chats. Thank you all for putting those in. I'll make sure to come back to them. We're at 3 now, about 45 minutes into this thing, so we started late. Thank you guys for being patient. Drew said, when it comes to faction, I know the Crimson Fleet is evil, yet can Ryujin Industries be another one? I want to be a pirate businessman. Yeah, Ryujin Industries does have a great quest line. It's very different. It's a different pace, but in a cool way, right? Because from that's actually a great example of the differences there. From the Crimson Fleet, pirates, they're doing the things that pirates would do, going out and stealing ships or stealing inventory or capturing people, and then Ryujin, it's like you're sitting in a board meeting talking with people, maybe sneaking around the office to plant some evidence somewhere. So it's a very different vibe, very different pace, but really great execution on the contrast there, especially between those two. Good question. And you most likely I haven't completed the Ryujin quest line, but there are plenty of opportunities to make your own path. Okay, I'm just going to find where the next one starts here. And then Cheers Love, you'll be first whenever we get back to Super Chats. And let me come back to our forums. Thank you guys for sending stuff in. This is fun. I appreciate it. Woo, there are a lot. Okay. I'm gonna try to be quicker at this stuff. I blab. I done lost my reload and I lost my spot. Okay, Vasco say. Well, we already talked about Vasco. USEC gear, please research this for me. Can you attempt to get the USEC gear? You can get it. Stealth questions. Which weapons can't be modded for stealth? Lasers, suppressors, all that stuff. How early are you able to get suppressed ballistic weapons? I'm pretty sure any weapon can have a suppressor on it, and any weapon can have a laser sight on it. I'm pretty sure. Everything I've encountered suggests yes. And even laser weapons, laser guns, you can mod them to have silent lasers. So there you go. So maybe that's what you do instead of suppressing a laser. That makes sense. Walking around planets. So can we walk around the whole planet? So this shouldn't be spoilery, but I'm going to talk about. Well, I already talked about that. Yeah, you cannot. You walk for. Now I will. I'm going to go too far into this than I need to. You cannot circumnavigate planets after you walk for 20, maybe 30, maybe 40 minutes, depending on the planet, depending on the region. You will get a notification that you have reached the end of this region. Please open the map to reload or to load in another region. So you can't do that. Practically speaking, this does not matter at all. This does not affect a reasonable gameplay loop. You are never going to happen upon this message. You will have to be walking and trying to get to the edge of this region to get that message. And even then, it's like it doesn't matter because you weren't doing anything anyway other than trying to get this message. So again, just play the game, just have fun with it, and you won't have to worry about it. And I'm not like saying that antagonistically towards you. I'm just saying for people who want to complain about it, yeah, it stinks, you can't do this kind of thing, but this is the game they made. It's not going to affect you that much. The whole fast traveling from planet to planet and system to system is more of an issue in my mind. So yeah, good question. Promotion code. I've got a new GPU RX 7900 RTX that comes with Starfield. Wondering when you get the code. I have no idea, man. Check in with them, and I'm sure they're going to be really helpful to you because I'm sure everybody else is having that same question. Difficulty. Is the game on the hardest difficulty really difficult, or does it suffer from scaling issues? I played on normal and had a fine time. There were definitely some times where I died and I dove into combat head first and got my head chopped off or shot off. There was specifically a mission moment where I was way too far in over my head with like some ship combat stuff. And so I wanted to try to get past that moment. And so I lowered the level to like very easy. I think there's very easy, normal, hard, and very hard. So I just bumped it down to the lowest setting, and I still couldn't do it. So either I was playing it very wrong, or it was very obviously like a kind of a level gated kind of thing that they wanted to make sure you were at. Then change it back to normal. But yeah, it's and I would recommend playing on at least normal. And usually I'm the kind of guy where it's like I'm all about the story, or I'm all about the experience, so I'll throw it down to very easy, no problems. I'll argue against that for Starfield just because on normal it's going to kind of create a little less margin for you that I think helps to create a little bit more of a feeling like, okay, I need to level up, or I need to invest in this skill, or, oh man, this isn't working out for me, so I need to put some more skill points there. And it kind of squeezes you in a good way to make you interact and engage with the systems on a more meaningful level, if that makes sense. How big is Neon and other cities? They're big. They're it's always subjective, right? Like whenever you say like, oh man, they're massive, like you may think of like, Night City or cities from The Witcher 3 come to mind. There's a lot of loading screens, and so I think they designed the cities pretty well. Where, let's take New Atlantis, for example. New Atlantis is kind of structured vertically. And so like you come in the landing pad and the landing area, which is like kind of the main New Atlantis place, I guess. And then there's a commercial district, and then there's a lower district, and then there's a residential district. And you kind of go up in the city, and it helps kind of keep straight in your mind like where everything is. And so I don't mind that. The loading screens within the cities aren't a huge deal. They're pretty fast, even on console. I'm not sure about Series S. I know everyone likes to hate on Series S lately, but yeah. And then Neon is more. It's a fishing platform, right? And so there's more limited space there, but they use it in some really creative ways, which also. It's not spoilery, but I want to make a specific video about this, so I don't think I'm going to say it quite yet. But it makes for some creative solutions to navigate Neon. And there's one thing about Neon, I don't want to spoil this either, but I was very surprised at a couple of things in Neon, like pleasantly surprised, that really added to my enjoyment of it. So I'm really excited for you guys to enjoy Neon. I will say, whenever you get to Neon first, there's a lot of different paths and ways that you can get there. The first time you get to Neon, just slow down. Just slow down and take it all in. Listen to everyone who's talking to you. Take in the lore. Take in what they say about the city, and it's right. It's great. It's great. Okay, XP placement. Simple, basic question: does the XP bar pop up in the middle of the screen? So this was a big, a big thing I was critical of as well. I think it does still pop up in the middle of the screen. They did move it down just a little bit below your crosshairs, below your kind of your middle cursor, which is helpful. I didn't see on Xbox, I didn't see an option to remove or put that somewhere else in the settings or in the HUD. However, you can remove your HUD completely and that XP notification goes away as well. And so if you wanted to play, without your compass or your health or your ammo or anything like that, take that all down, kind of be more immersive, that goes away. But if you want everything up and you just want that moved, I didn't see on console a way to do it, but I would imagine on PC there is a very easy and simple way to do that. Still rocking about 450 people on the stream. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope everything's going well with you all. I'm going to take just a moment, grab me a drink, and I'll be right back and we'll continue with the forum. All right. Making sure I'm not muted. If y'all saw the last stream, I talked for like the first 4 or 5 minutes and just muted myself. All right. I'm going to keep going with the forum questions, and we will get back to the super chats soon. Thank you all so much for putting those in. So we just got through talking about cities and XP placement and HUD. Next question from Strangeman90. Ships worth boarding and selling or salvage scrap material? Great question. So you can, like as we've already seen in the direct, you can disable and board enemy ships. And if you pilot those ships, they're essentially yours. They show up in your ship options when you're at a star yard or a starport. And you can fly those. You can use those in combat. You can take them. You can do whatever you want to with them. Leave them out in space on another ship and blow them up with another ship if you want to for the ship parts. If you want to run like kind of like a pirate arbitrage type deal, where you go and steal ships and then try to sell them to the highest bidder and make a bunch of money that way. You can make money that way. In my experience, with no like perks or skill ranking upgrades in commerce to kind of increase the amount you sell for, you sell ships for right at 2,000 credits more than it takes for you to register them. You can't sell them until you register them. You cannot upgrade them until you register them. You cannot rebuild them until you register them. And so you have to register them if you want to do anything above and beyond actually just using them out in space as they are. 2,000 credits, I mean, that's not a small amount of credits, but if you wanted to kind of run this thing on repeat and make a business out of it, I'm not sure how lucrative that would be because, like, as you're hunting these ships, um, you're going to take damage to your existing ships, and you're going to have to repair those ships, and it's going to take time, and it's going to take you're going to have to upgrade your own weapons from your other ships and your own shields. So I'm not sure exactly how lucrative that would be, but it sure as heck would be fun. And so I definitely try it and see if that's something you enjoy. It may be just as fun as like going out and doing mission board quests, and maybe just as lucrative as those. So it's definitely worth trying, but it's not going to be like this massive, like, oh, I'm making so many credits. And then you mentioned like salvage. I didn't see any way to salvage like through a starport your ship, or even weapons or suit parts for that matter. There could, as far as like salvaging weapons, there could be an option to upgrade your crafting abilities through the science skill tree. I wasn't able to get really. I don't think I put any points into the science skill tree. Just because I was so limited in what I had time to do. Yeah, good question. Good question. Okay. Sorry. All right, here we go. Does creating a base make a non-quest POI tile contents static? I don't know, and I think we talked about that, but Tillendal asked that. He's one of our producers. So what he's asking is, with all these like generated tiles of landmass that they create as you enter a planet, he wants to know, like, if you make an outpost somewhere, does that kind of essentially save that tile as it is? I don't know exactly all that. The way, it's so funny the way that they communicated how planets are generated, and like they should have just made it a lot more simple as far as how they communicated it to us, and not tried to be so wordy and like cagey about it. Just like, yeah, it's all random, and you have to regenerate every 2 miles you walk or whatever. Like, everyone would be like, oh man, that sucks, but it'll still be fine. I don't think they would have not sold any games because of that. So I don't know specifically on that question, but your outpost will be a constant point of interest on that planet until you remove it. Multiple grav drives. No, you cannot have multiple grav drives. There are a few things on your ship that you can only have one of: grav drive, shield, and reactor. Those three main parts you can only have one of. Traversing. Can we manually navigate space, or is it just warp jumps to planet? It's all loading screens, all fast travel. It stinks as far as that side of the immersion goes, but honestly, like, that's you're having so much fun with other stuff in the game. Don't let that get you down. It's a little bit of a bummer, but there's lots of other things to be very, very excited about. Blood, gore, dismemberment. I didn't notice any dismemberment, but there's lots of blood splatter. After little firefights you get into, there are always lots of blood spots on the floor where I was. It's quite extensive as well. Like, it looks like there was one moment that honestly it kind of felt like the lobby scene in The Matrix, where at the end, he's going through where like they have all the pillars in them. It gave me those kind of vibes and those kind of feels. And yeah, there was a lot of my blood left over in that area after that fight, but it was a lot of fun. Kudos to the developers for that, and the level designer for that one. What surprised you? What game mechanic were you most impressed by, and what game mechanic were you most disappointed in? I'm definitely disappointed in the whole, not necessarily like seamlessness of it, but just how segmented it is. Man, I really wish that they could have done something, at least in space, to be able to let you fly from like planet to moon or planet to planet, even if you couldn't fly from system to system. That just would have been really, really cool. So I'm probably most disappointed in that, but relatively to what I'm excited about, like barely any disappointment at all. So I'm so excited about all of it. And then what mechanic surprised me? Shipbuilding is more accessible than maybe I thought it would be, because Todd Howard said in an interview that was going to be a late game system, and it certainly can be, and it certainly is to a certain extent. But for maybe like in one of the videos that I posted for members, which again, there's a free 7-day trial of the basic membership on Patreon. If you want to go see this, I built a ship from nothing to a little spaceship that has weapons and it can zip around, and it's nothing fancy, but it's probably the cheapest ship you can get away with building. And I think I built the whole ship for maybe 9,000 credits. If you wanted to, at first when you come into New Atlantis, you can probably upgrade your Frontier for maybe 1,500 credits, like bump up your weapons a little bit or bump up your shields or do something to kind of customize it a little bit. And so it's not as cost prohibitive as I thought it may. I was thinking like everything is going to be like tens of thousands of credits. And if you want to do some big stuff, which you can, it really is cost prohibitive. But for the small stuff, you can, there's enough there that's affordable for you to still have fun and kind of get into it. And I just talked about Shipbuilder. Shipbuilder feels clunky at first. There's not really like an in-game tutorial, or if there is, I missed it. But just, I'll say this, and I mentioned this in my review, just play around with it. Kind of, if you were really excited about this and you get into it and you're like, oh, this is not fun, force yourself to like just mess around with it for an hour, 30 minutes, an hour maybe. And that's why I posted the video of me, building the plane, because as you mess around with it and you make a lot of mistakes and like, well, why isn't this working? I thought I connected that there. You start to get a better understanding of the fundamentals of everything, how it works, why things work the way they do. And then as you start to understand those, you'll be able to maneuver through that system quicker, more effectively. And then once you become familiar and comfortable with all those mechanics, that's when you'll start to be able to be creative with it. And I think that's when a lot of people will start enjoying it. At the end of the day, I think it's probably still more accessible. I think it has a harder beginning learning curve than Zelda Tears of the Kingdom with their Ultra Hand thing. That's easier to start doing, I think, Zelda is. But I think that is the deeper you want to go into that, it becomes harder and more agitating. I really hated it. And I think the deeper I get into shipbuilding, it starts to feel more natural and more organic and like, okay, this makes sense. I'm kind of seeing how it all fits together now. So it feels good. Do a few more of these and we'll come back to Super Chats. Kid watching friendly. Yes, I wanted to get to this one. Somebody mentioned I have kids ages 7 and 6. Bless you, my friend. 3 there. I have this is something fun about me. It's not a medical issue, but I make fun of myself because I really have this thing about my mind. If I have like a close friend, but if I have someone I'm kind of, somebody at church or somebody from work or whatever, and we're not real close, we're not friends, but we know each other. If they have more than 2 children, I cannot remember how many they have. For some reason in my mind, there is this mental block of like more than 2 is like, I literally cannot fathom that. If it's 3 kids, 4 kids, 5 kids, 6 kids, 7 kids, I can never remember. I'm like, how many kids do you have? 5? Okay, yeah. But like if you got 1 or 2, like I'm there. I got 2 kids. So anyway, you didn't ask about that. But yes, other than the violence, right? Whenever you're in combat, other than the violence, the ship combat is fine. There's never any, like somebody's torso is floating in space. That's fine. And honestly, like, I know we're all so desensitized to stuff now, but I'm really trying to think now. I don't remember hearing the F-bomb as far as curse words go. I feel like I would have noticed that. And so just kind of depending on your tolerance and your filters, other than the violence, like it should be fine. And if there were any kind of like, real strong language used, like I feel like the writing and the tone is pretty natural, and so I don't think anyone's just gonna like blurt that out as you're trying to sell trilobites to someone, right? I think it would be like in the middle of a heated combat situation, or maybe like a heated mission moment where you're having to make some strong decisions and people have strong feelings about it. So I feel like it's honestly pretty kid friendly for the most part. So yeah, good question, and I hope you enjoy playing it all together. And let's see, I wanted to real quick, somebody messaged me. Did he tell me? He didn't tell me what her name was, but David Hayslip, hello to your daughter. That sounds weird. Sorry. He messaged me. He said his daughter was a fan of the channel. So glad that you're watching, David's daughter, and I hope you're watching this, and I hope you continue to enjoy the channel and enjoy the game. Have fun. David, thanks for messaging me, man. That was cool. All right, coming back here. Game playable 10 years. Can the game really be playable for 10 years? Absolutely. Absolutely. If Skyrim is this, yeah, I'll be playing this for a long time. If you are into it, you will be playing this for a long time. Absolutely. Do we have first person body finally? I think I mentioned, like, can you see your feet, in first person? I don't think you can, but you can see your arms and your hands whenever you're doing stuff with them. I'm trying to think of an example. Sorry, I'm trying to think of an example. We've seen before, like, when you're piloting your ship, if you do a grav drive, you kind of see the, switching things around. Of course, like when you're using your weapons and your guns. Okay, yeah. Languages available, subtitle, original message was deleted. Okay, because I got the answer. Okay. Dream Home, start, and kid stuff. Yes, this is actually something I wanted to mention. So I want to talk about what the Dream Home and kid stuff traits are. And so if that is spoilery to you, or you don't want to know, or you want to find out by yourself, just put me on mute. I'll try to do it within 60 seconds. That way I'll be tight, and I'll give you like a I'll give you a signal. Signal will give you a signal when I'm done. Gosh, I'm so cheesy. Thank you guys for watching me. All right. So kid stuff. You have parents in New Atlantis. They have a really nice apartment that is expensive, which is why you send money to them every week, I believe. And they are really cool. This is more of a world building, immersion, role play kind of mechanic in the game. And so there's not a lot of, I get to use their house for like extra storage, or I get to use their house as a home base, and then I can get more crafting things. There's nothing going on like that. They do give you gifts. My mom gave me a really one of my old backpacks from high school, I think, and that gave me extra storage on my back. My dad gave me a really cool gift, which was a gun that was originally owned by the founder of Constellation. It's pretty cool, right? And I'm sure there are lots of other stuff that they give me as well, and that we get into. Those are the two things. To remove this trait, you don't kill your parents. You just simply tell them, hey, I can't afford to send you money anymore. And they make you feel like it's not a problem at all, like your parents would, right? If you have awesome parents. And they just say, like, we'll just have to move, right? And after that, I didn't go too far down that. I just kind of tested it. But it's possible that they could move to a rougher part of the city, might get hurt, might get sick. I'm not sure kind of what all goes on there, but it's a nice little immersion thing. For Dream Home is literally like a blank canvas, awesome big house that you have on like your own little moon or planet or whatever. And it's mainly for people who love base building, who love decorating, who love doing all the things in that kind of system. So if you're not into that, Dream Home will be pretty much useless because you'll never go there and you won't build it out. You can't even like just pay an interior designer to make it for you, because I would definitely do that. But no other skills like, oh, I get extra crafting bonus points, or I get extra experience whenever I sleep here, or anything like that. So that's what those two are, and wanted to test those out for you for sure. All right, let's stop there. I'll tell you what. One more. Are joysticks supported? I'm assuming you mean like on PC or HOTAS support. I haven't heard anything specifically about that. Sorry. All right, let's go back to our super chats. Still about 400 of you guys on the stream. Thank you so much for being here. This is fun. Hope I'm helping give you a little bit of context, or helping you make some decisions once you get started in the game, and not just here babbling like an idiot like I do sometimes. All right. Let's see. I'm going to make sure I'm catching up here. Okay. Whew, this was 39 minutes ago. I got a lot of catching up to do. Cheers, love. Super chatted $5. Thank you for that. Are there any card games in the game, like blackjack or poker, for example? No. Oh, and I forgot to give the signal. I forgot to give the signal. I'm such a dweeb. That's the signal that we're done with the spoiler stuff. I've cracked myself up. So, do you remember in the direct we saw the Red Mile, and it looked like there were like there's gambling, there's poker, there's blackjack. All that is kind of stage dressing. You can't actually play poker. You can't actually play blackjack. I was hoping that you could even bet on the Red Mile, and you can't even bet on yourself. So I thought that would be a cool thing to do. If I had to be honest, I was a little disappointed in the Red Mile. I actually don't want to say anymore, because you may absolutely love it, and I don't want to taint your enjoyment of anything. And so I just need to get over it, because there's lots of other cool stuff to enjoy. All right. Good question. And no, you can't play Starlocked either. Oh, if you guys remember that video I made, I'm almost hoping I would maybe even want to partner with someone who makes board games. Let's make Starlocked. I think that looks so fun and would be really cool. Okay. Liam Franz super chatted $2. Thank you. Can you customize Vasco? Are there cybernetics? I haven't seen any options to customize Vasco with a flamethrower arm, or extra shielding, or anything like that. You can kind of use him as a pack mule, but you cannot customize him in any way that I've seen yet. It's possible there could be a mission to open that up later. There could be that could open up in the research or the crafting skill tree, but I have not engaged with any of that just yet. Good question though. I was joking around with one of my producers about. It's like, man, people are going to be asking me all these questions, and I'm going to be like, I don't know, because the game is so big, and like I said earlier, I've just scratched the surface of the tip of the iceberg. Wade Hodges, good to see you on here, Wade, if you're still here. Thank you so much for the super chat, man. Wade is a good friend of mine, and Wade has no children. That's why I can remember. He has a dog. Wade super chatted, how many fields of stars are there? All of them. It's all the fields that you could ever. Oh, actually, there should. If you take that question technically, there are 100 star systems. There should be. I have not counted. I haven't counted the star systems. I haven't counted the planets, but there are definitely a lot of them. They are leveled, and so you start out in a level 1 star system, and all the enemies and all the creatures and everything pretty easy to handle. But you can get up to, I think the highest leveled systems I saw, I haven't done everything, is 75 was the highest system level I saw. I am level 29, so I haven't got there yet. Thank you, Wade, so much for the super chat, buddy. Very kind of you. Thanks for stopping by. All right, coming on. Matthew Smith super chatted €2. Thank you for that. What happens when you die or go to jail? When you die, you just restart from the nearest, the most recent save point. And that's a solid question, because in other games like Elite Dangerous, and honestly, I haven't played many other space sim games, but like you kind of get a penalty, right? And if you have ship insurance and you pay like a little bit of a fee and you get your ship back, you just die and you just reset in Starfield. Good question. And then if you go to jail, so this is important to know. If you go to jail, you can either, if you get found, if they scan your ship, you get found with contraband, or you perform a crime, or you have a bounty on your head, you can either pay the fine, and they take you downtown, and they take all of your stolen items from you, and then they let you go, or all of your contraband from you as well. If you do not want to pay the credits, or you don't have the credits on you, you still go to jail, and they still remove all the contraband and stolen items from you. But instead of taking your credits, they take experience from you, which I think is a really interesting kind of extra layer of mechanic they added in there. I like it. It's a good kind of risk reward. Like, well, I'm actually building up to buy this spaceship, and I need those 800 or 900 credits or whatever. But you're like, yeah, you can take 800 experience from me. It's fine. I don't need to level up for anything right now. So I think it's cool little thing they did there. Ubik, good to see you on here, sir. Super chatted €10. Can your companions help with inventory management? Absolutely. Yeah, any companion that you have traveling with you, you can store things in them. They all have varying degrees of storage capacity. So Vasco is pretty hefty, I believe. Maybe around, I may be misremembering this. I think that Vasco has more carrying capacity than maybe like what Sarah does or Barrett does. But they definitely help with that. Lots of subs. Thank you for those. Glad to have you guys on the Signal crew. This is so fun. We are about 4 hours and 20 minutes away from early access, from playing. Oh, so excited. All right. And I'm playing, but I'm not just like doing that for the camera or whatever. I'm literally excited for you guys. I cannot wait for you to experience what I've got to experience for the last couple weeks. I cannot wait to enjoy the game. Like, I still have to make content, but I was very anxious about making this review and writing this big review and putting it together. And so I'm excited to play the game and make some casual content that will not take me 40 hours to put together. All right, sorry. Matthew said, have you been on the New Atlantis subway? Yes. Excuse me, New Atlantis subway yet? Yes, I have. That is how you kind of get from level to level in New Atlantis, from the kind of the landing area. And they have like a few shops there to, you see masts in the commercial district and residential district and all that. And it's cool. It's just a loading screen. So it's not like you don't actually get on a subway like maybe you do. I think you did that in Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man. So nothing that cool. Like for the fast travel you did. All right. Starfield Cyborg said, can our characters buy or upgrade cybernetic implants? Is there any robotic customization options in character creation? That's a great question. I did not see any robotic prosthetic options in character creation. I didn't spend a ton of time in it, again, just because I kind of wanted to get to a lot of the content. I am going to go back through that and pay more attention. I don't think so, though. And as far as like getting those things in game, there are some missions that I won't spoil that maybe lean into that kind of thing more than others. That's all I'll say there. But definitely some cool stuff to be explored. Lots of subscriptions. Thank you, guys. Matthew said again, if you have kids, what's their verdict on the game? Oh, my kids, not kids in the game. I feel bad about this. I told my 7-year-old, she's about to be 8. I said, you're going to be the first 7-year-old to build a ship in this game. And just with the way my schedule needed to be this last week, I was not able to get her on here playing the game. I'm going to have a couple of hours before I start the Let's Play, so I may still try to get her over here to do that, because that would just be a cool thing for her. Anyway, we're really excited to build a ship together. I told her, maybe we can do this. I told her we were going to try to make a ship that looked like a dog, like with floppy ears and a tail. So no, she might even be more creative than me. I'm usually not the kind of guy that's like building all these cool things. But yeah, hopefully they will enjoy it. And eventually I have a 5-year-old as well. And hopefully eventually she'll get to where she might like doing something like that too. Cool. Thanks for the question. Appreciate that. Matthew chatted again. Thumbs up for being the only YouTuber I've seen to hold a Q&A. Oh, really? That's crazy. This seemed like such a natural thing to me. I mean, because obviously you guys can watch the reviews now. You're watching lots of Let's Plays, but you have to start those from minute 0. And so there's lots of things maybe later on in the game, like the cities and some of the skill paths that they might not be able to answer. So anyway, yeah. Absolutely. And I'm also the only idiot probably who can't play the game and answer questions at the same time. So that's what you get with me. But thank you for that. I appreciate that. You're welcome. All right. And Matthew taking up all the super chats, buddy. I appreciate it. You don't feel like you have to do that though. What were your traits, backgrounds that you picked? I started with Dream Home, because I wanted to see what that was like. Kid stuff, wanted to see what that was like. Did Wanted as well. I was very curious about that. Wanted is the one where you are like constantly hunted by bounty hunters, but whenever your health is low, you do extra damage. I haven't noticed my health is low doing extra damage. I'm sure that's happened, but I haven't oh man, this really helped. I haven't noticed that yet. And also, I've 60 hours of play. I haven't had one scenario yet where I was on a planet and bounty hunters came for me or landed and messed up my plans for raiding an outpost or something. I have had several instances where I jumped to a new system. I'm traveling somewhere for a mission or trying to collect some resources, and there are bounty hunters there waiting for me, and they just start attacking. And honestly, that's pretty cool. It makes for some pretty dynamic traveling and jumping from system to system. And it hasn't been as maybe frequent as I assumed it would be. And also, I wanted to do that because I was assuming I could make a lot of money, stealing their ships after we had our encounter. But as I mentioned earlier, stealing ships and trying to register those and then sell them, it's not quite as lucrative as maybe I thought it would be. See. And Matthew, thank you so much for all the super chats. I appreciate the support very much. Enclave. See. Enclave Maine super chatted $4.99. Thank you. Let's see. There's not a message attached to that, but thank you so much for the support. Brandon Platt. I'm 17 minutes ago, so I'm catching up. Super chatted $2.99. How's the research feeling for you, and how costly? Research is one of those systems that I did not get into at all. Research, crafting, outpost. I was not, or really real deep into the companions either. I haven't been able to navigate or explore those as much as I would like to, and so I don't have anything to say there. But that will definitely be part of part 2 of the review. Good question. Enclave Man said, "I'm an idiot. But what faction would be best for a space cop to play through?" Ooh, good question. The Vanguard definitely, and specifically the UC system defense branch of that which deals mainly with the Crimson Fleet. And so that's where you can, kind of choose to be that double agent that people have talked about. And I mentioned this in the review, and it may be the same for all of the factions, but the Crimson Fleet is the only faction quest line that I completed. I do recommend doing that first. Its difficulty level is reasonable, maybe fairly low even. And it really sets you up with a lot of great gear just from the different places it sends you and the different opportunities you have to collect gear there. And at the end of it, there's lots of choices to be made, but at the end of it, the choices I made, I got a nice fat lump of credits at the end, enough to just outright buy one of those dream ships you see, at the starport, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'll never have enough credits for that. You'll have enough credits for that at the end of this quest line. So regardless of what you do with those credits, it's nice to have them, and it's an awesome quest line, even to like play through kind of straight and not bouncing back and forth on the other parts of the game. It's a great quest line. I would have paid $70 just for that game. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10. All right, what else? Lots of subscribers. 14 minutes now. Awesome. We're catching up. Isaac Solus says, super chatted. $5. Thank you. How deep and how customizable are the ships and outposts? Ships are very deep. I didn't get into the outpost much, but I can say from what I saw, it's a deep system. Lots of variety. I'll speak to the shipbuilding specifically. Again, it feels a bit clunky to get into it first, but the more you force yourself to spend time with it, understand how it works, try things, fail, figure out how to kind of work around them, it'll all start to kind of make sense. And I think there's a lot of fun to be had there, especially when you can build something and then you can look at it and you can walk in it and you can fly it and you can shoot it. It's just really, really cool. Enclave Man said again, what faction would be best for a space? Oh wait, I already did that one. Or maybe you just super chatted again because I didn't answer it the first time. Sorry about that. 9 minutes again. 9 minutes ago, Chris Staff super chatted $20 of A currency, maybe Australian dollars. Thank you for that. Either way, how in depth do spacesuits go? Did you come across anything that was rare? Yeah, with suits and weapons and even boost packs, they all kind of operate on a tiered leveled system, right? So they're like commons and rares, and then epics, and then legendaries. In 60 hours of playthrough, it's fairly generous, right? I'm not sure if your difficulty level affects the drop rate of anything, but everything is dynamic, right? Nothing, just not like, okay, go to this moon at this location and you'll always get this epic rifle. It's not that. Everything's dynamic with how they built it and generated it. Maybe except for specific like mission rewards. Those might be static. But it's good. Let's see. What did you ask me? I lost my train of thought. Spacesuits. Spacesuits, yeah, they have the rarity and the legendary and epic as well. And that usually looks like, okay, an epic spacesuit, you get an extra 20 kilos of carrying capacity, or a legendary rifle, you get all kinds of mods that are just already pre-installed on it. So you get the suppressor on it, you get the long barrel for longer range, you get a hair trigger that makes it to where you fire a lot faster, or you get certain types of kind of like incendiary rounds that set people on fire, have a chance to set people on fire. Just lots of cool stuff, lots of depth, lots of opportunity for I would say I didn't really focus on combat in any of my skills or like what I was worried about with weapons. I just kind of focused mainly on just damage output. And even then, not getting real deep into the combat system, I changed up my play style 4 or 5 times, depending on like which new perks I had on weapons or spacesuits, and so it adds a lot to the game. Getting in 5 minutes ago, we're almost there. Any moon soon? ? Super chatted. Can you steal any ship, even the massive fleets? Uh, I don't think so. I remember I was on a big like carrier ship, and I came across the cockpit and tried to enter it, and it was like inaccessible. It wouldn't even open. Not even like I had to have a key or somebody open it for me. It's just like it wasn't an option. So I don't think you'll be able to steal massive fleet ships or big capital ships, as people say. But everything that's just kind of out there flying around and can fire at you, and you can, it's kind of like your ships. Yes, you can steal them. Now, there is a class system for spaceships. So if you don't upgrade your piloting skill, if you disable a Class B ship and you kill everybody on board and you get to the cockpit, and it will not let you sit down in the pilot's chair if you do not have the correct rank of skill necessary to fly that ship. And so don't get so far into like this epic ship battle. You're like, oh, I finally got it, and I'm going to be able to steal this ship and sell it. And then like you can't even fly it home, so you can't commandeer it at that point. That happened to me once, and I was like, oh, screw this. I'm upgrading that pilot rank right now. And I spent like the next, maybe 5 hours just going from system to system looking for ship battles to be able to upgrade that piloting rank. And it was a lot of fun because, like I said, I love ship battles. Good questions. And we're working our way up. Another super chat from Matthew. Found any derelict ships, Easter eggs, loots? Yes. A few really good experiences. Definitely be sure to watch my review. At least up to about maybe halfway in. I think the second half is mainly kind of like technical and specific system stuff. But I try to put the most like experiential stuff kind of towards the front. I share some really neat experiences there. Be sure to watch that review. And that'll tell you a few things. And there was also a really special, I wanted to be sure to mention this in this stream, and I'm glad you brought it up. There was a really special, what's the right word for it? I want to say nod, but I feel like that's a bit too informal. Acknowledgement. There was a really special acknowledgement to Alex Hay, the Starfield fan who sadly passed away from cancer. And was not able to play the game due to it, being pushed back to this year as opposed to last November. So there was a very nice acknowledgement to him in there, and I'm excited for you all to find that. I don't want to spoil it, though. My voice is starting to give out, so let's see. Chad Wolf said, love the review. Thank you, Chad. I appreciate that. Like, comment, and share it and watch it again. I haven't even checked what's it at now. How many views? Once I launched it, 12 came across. I was breathing so heavily because I was so anxious about it. But thank you for the support. I appreciate that. And then Matt said again, have you found duplicate, similar fauna, flora, or diversity? Good question. I have to think about that. That was something in my mind. I was before I started playing, I was like, okay, I want to make a note of this because that was a question I had as well. But then I never thought about it again. So I bet not. I did notice similar character models, like in different places that weren't the same character, but they kind of looked the same. Probably because of like a haircut or something, like a prominent feature, and they were still a little different. But I didn't notice any repeat, alien creatures or similar fauna. It was flora. It was all very unique to every planet that I visited. That said, I haven't visited a lot of different planets. I haven't got into like the resource building side of things yet. So it could be that once I get into that, it kind of loses its luster, and there is a lot of repeat stuff. But as far as just kind of a natural playthrough, playing the story and kind of coming along to all that stuff, it seems like there's a lot of diversity. And then Any Moon Soon super chatted $50. Wow. Thank you so much, Any Moon Soon. That's very generous. No question this time, but a huge thank you from myself and I'm sure many others for all the content you've done up to now. We can't wait for some more. I hope you all have a stellar time in the stars. Very, very generous of you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, hey, we're caught up on Super Chats, I believe, unless... Okay, yeah, I think we are caught up. Whew. My voice is getting a bit dry. Let me take just another quick break if you want to stick around, and we will do some more of the forum post, and then we'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Thank you all for your patience. I appreciate that. Whew. To be honest, I got a little distracted. I wanted to pull up the video real quick just to see how it was doing, and we got about 40,000 views right now, which is I'm very humbled by and grateful for. That is awesome. I also noticed YouTube's weird the way they like tell you how many views you have and then how many they display publicly. So thank you. Thank you guys for watching that. Put a lot of work and effort and heart into that. And glad seems people are enjoying that as well. Okay. Let's round out this Q&A. We're going to try to spend maybe another 20 minutes on this before I kind of take a break and get ready. I am going to do like a little Let's Play at 5. And so I want to wrap this up quickly, and then I'll kind of focus on playing the game as opposed to answering questions, because I cannot walk and chew gum at the same time. As you guys know me. If you, I'm just all right. Sorry, coming back. Whew. There were a lot. Okay, let's see. I already did all these. We were going up to 1 day ago. Here we go. App. Will there be a phone app so we can interact and view outposts and achievements and organize crew members? I haven't seen anything about a companion app other than kind of what the functionality is with the Constellation Watch. And I do not have my Constellation Watch yet. I'm salty at Best Buy here in the United States. I'll get angry if I. Not, I mean, obviously I'm playing the game, so like I'm not too angry, but I'm angry for other people who, if you spent $300 on a Constellation Edition, I feel like one of the cool perks should be like you should be one of like the first group of people to play, and you're not going to be able to play for maybe if you go to work tomorrow, maybe another 24 hours after someone who starts playing today at 8 p.m. just for $30 on Game Pass, $30 to get the early access, and then Game Pass for just access. Anyway. I think they could have figured that out better. Can you call in airstrikes or any kind of artillery? No. Role-playing. How is the role-playing? Are the conversations limited? The role-playing is great, mainly because the writing is really good. I'm really enjoying the writing. Now, as far as like how deep into role-play you want to get, obviously they can't react to every little thing that your brain can think of, but there are a lot of different directions to go for sure. UC Security. I wanted to see if we can join UC Sec or do missions for them. Not that I know of just yet. You can't join them like you can the Vanguard or UC System Defense, but it is possible that I just haven't came across that yet. How big are the cities? Already talked about cities. Who are the 4 potential love interests? A few of the members of Constellation. There are Sarah Morgan, Sam Coe, Barrett. What's Barrett's last name? I don't know. I don't think it's ever referred to his last name. Or if it has, I do not know. And then Andrasia, which you meet her in a really cool way. Can you go back in time and destroy Constellation from even forming? That's a good science fiction plot. Not that I know of. I'm only 60 hours in, maybe about 20 hours into the main the main quest line. the main faction quest line. What did we get wrong? Oh, probably so much. What did we get wrong about the game? The economy is not as dynamic as we had hoped it would be, or maybe I speculated it would be. That's okay. That could be possible for modding. That might be an interesting thing to explore. There are no playable mini games like the board games, like I speculated. What else? As far as like systems and mechanics, I didn't speculate about a lot. I ended up being right, and I would have rather been wrong, but I ended up being right about planet traversal, that being kind of limited. And then a lot of people were wrong about the, open space traversing and how you explore space. So those are kind of the big things, I think. How replayable is Starfield? Very, if not one of the most replayable video games ever. How much do backgrounds matter? They would never back you into a corner on anything, I don't believe. But there are neat little dialogue options that you would have in certain conversations that you wouldn't have otherwise. And those could, that could save you from a fight. It could save you from losing, kind of relational points with your companion. It could save you some money. And so and I've seen more opportunities to use my background I'm trying to think about it. I've seen more opportunities that I could use my background in dialogue than I thought that I would. So that was good. Pleasantly surprised there. Controller or mouse and keyboard? I'm a controller guy. Even if I eventually play on PC, I will be using a controller. How large can you make ships? I did a video on this a few weeks ago and kind of measure your building surface. That's as big as it is. So you can't build anything bigger than that. And I don't know if you would want to. I mean, everyone wants to go as big as they can, but it would be expensive because the bigger your ship is, the more engines you have to have, and the more landing gear you have to have, and the better grav drive you have to have for gravity thrust. And so I'm trying to think about that. That's all a lot to kind of balance as the bigger you get. So practically speaking, you don't want to go too big. Can we adjust companion aggression? Not in like a slider kind of way, like an options or setting. Depending on how you interact with your companions, that I don't know this for sure, but that could change their agreeableness towards you, but maybe not aggressiveness. What is the Raise Universal and Raise Enlightened chest? I don't know. I did not choose that trait. If I had to guess, a lot of these traits function maybe similarly to kid stuff, where there's no like mechanic involved in your having your parents there, but they do give you gifts and they do give you special items. And just like the fan or the dedicated follower, whatever that's called, he gives you gifts every now and then as well. So I would imagine this chest would be something similar to that, where it's not just full of stuff and you can go take it all, then you're done, but maybe it's restocked with special items from time to time, or you get an email or a message from someone there saying, hey, we restocked this, come by and see what we got. That's I'm guessing. Different types of planets. What happened when you went to the planets like gas giants? Were there any unique planets? I haven't seen anything outside of like our normal scientific knowledge, right? That we have right now. You can't land on gas giants. Lots of people have been talking about that, but you can land on their usually several moons. And a lot of the moons in Starfield kind of, don't think of it like our moon, just kind of gray dust with no atmosphere. Lots of the moons have their own atmosphere and have oxygen on them. You can have your helmet off and have flora and fauna and kind of act like what we would consider planets. Are there any options to wear glasses in the game? Glasses in the game. 4 billion people wear glasses, but most games don't have them. Sorry, I'm trying to think. I don't know if you can choose them for your own character in the character creator, but I do know I have seen NPCs with glasses on. I'm trying to think if there's no option to put any kind of head accessory on other than your helmet. So if you maybe do it in character creation, you can't have glasses. Speaking of glasses, let me put this in the chat. These are GMG Performance blue light glasses, blue light blocking glasses, and they are partnering with the channel to give you guys 40% off. And so I know somebody linked me like a new study that's out to say blue light glasses don't work. If you read the study, it's a lot of like, hey, this is inconclusive, or this is high biased, or this is low certainty. So I'm not a researcher, but I did enough education through my master's program to have several different research papers underneath my belt. And if I submitted anything like what this research paper would be, I would get a C at best, or it would be inconclusive at best, depending on the nature of the study. So anyway, I'm not worried about that. Blue light glasses help me and my wife. We used to both get headaches, and we got ourselves some blue light glasses, and I get my headaches are far less dramatic than they used to be, and also less occurring. I can't talk now. Less frequent is the word I'm looking for. So anyway, let me find. Sorry, I'm looking for my. Looking for my Discord. I'm going to copy this link and put it in the chat. So if you need blue light glasses or you want to try some out, you can get 40% off. Just go into that link in the chat now. And I will put that in the description as well for the on-demand viewing. Okay, and let's keep going. We'll try to wrap this up quick, and then I'll go back and see if there are any new super chats. What if I buy the premium edition after it launches? Do I still get the early access? Yeah, it should be. So up to 5 days, and so early access starts tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. If you buy the premium edition tomorrow, then you get access whenever you buy it, as long as you don't buy the disc version and buy the digital. Without giving any spoilers, what are mid-late game money-making tips outside of main story quest? So I'm 60 hours in. I would argue I am still early game. It's a big game. So for money-making tips right now, there wasn't ever a time when I was like, okay, I'm going to spend 2 hours and try to make as much credits as I can, or I'm going to blitz out, trying to make some money to get some ships. Probably just running quests, just doing mission boards, running quests for right now. I will definitely research that and test that, and has some videos out about like the easiest way to make some credits quickly. We already talked about how like pirate arbitrage just isn't super lucrative with all the repairs and everything you have to make. Excuse me. So I don't know just yet, but I would run the missions and run the quest lines and just kind of test that out. Usually you'll get in missions, as you finish them, you may get 1,000 to 1,500 credits for completing a mission. Sometimes you complete them quickly. Sometimes you got to travel from system to system, but that's what I would do first for right now. How does planetary exploration work? Already talked about that. Andrasia, yes, I believe she is romanceable. Multiple saves. Can we have multiple character profiles at once? I'm almost positive. Let me just boot up the game here real quick. I'm 95% sure the answer is yes to that, because you can have your character profile, and then you can have, multiple saves on that character, and then you can switch to character 2 and have multiple saves on that character. That's a pretty standard for BGS games. Robots. So how many types of robots can we build enough for a robot army? I don't think I've been able to build any robots yet, but like I said, I have not been deep into the crafting mechanics or systems yet. Turn this down, so I know that sounds great to you guys, but turn it down just a little bit. Let's see. Well, I would have to start a whole new character and go through that process. Watch my Let's Play here in about 40 minutes, and you will find out, because I will have to start a new character for that. Who was that? That was Void Presence. Watch the Let's Play. You'll find out. Planetary exploration. Already talked about that. Pre-gaming 007. Aliens? ? Are there aliens like Mass Effect or sentient beings apart from humans, and could there be DLC? Yada yada. All the aliens are like alien creatures. There are some that seem to be more intelligent and more aware than others, but they are certainly all like creatures. No humanoids that I've encountered yet. RPG elements. How does the world reactivity feel? Similar to Oblivion with fame, quest, and morality. Other than kind of, I haven't noticed yet. Like whenever I go into New Atlantis, need to stop by to do another quest or go upgrade my gear or something like that, I haven't noticed everyone applauding me, like, hey, that's the guy who did this. But at the same time, I haven't done anything of galactic importance yet. It's all very much like you're kind of in the group you're in, and within the Crimson Fleet, they react to you. Within the Vanguard, they react to you, but just people out in guards or vendors, nothing like that. But it kind of makes sense. It doesn't seem like it's something that they overlook. Why would they know what's happening with the Crimson Fleet, right? Loot Roomba. What is the strangest or most random item you found in the wild? For a second, I thought, oh man, have I been muted for 10 minutes? Oh. Hey, what is the strangest or most random? Oh, didn't realize that was coming through. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay. I don't really have an answer for that, for the most random item I found out in the wild. Can we build, Dax said, can we build our ships upward along the Z-axis? Yes, you can build them upward. You do still have to make sure that everything fits together the way that it needs to. So your entrance bay or your cargo bay, I forget what they call that, cargo bay, I think. It has to connect to the rest of your ship in a certain way, like where the hatch is in a certain position. Your cockpit has to fit in a certain position. There's a lot of variety within those limitations, but it's not just turn everything up on its head. One thing that caught me off guard, and it's fine, it makes sense, but they don't let you rotate things. They let you flip things, so it can be, you can have a left laser and a right laser, but they don't let you, okay, I want to turn it this way, or okay, I want to rotate it this way, or I want my cockpit to face this way. And I think they do that just to kind of keep things simplified and make sure things fit together in a certain way. But that did catch me off guard. Fishy drugs. Are we able to get high off of the fish in Neon? You can make Aurora from those fish in a predetermined lab, in a predetermined mission, and there are also some other ways that you can maybe do that I'll be a bit cagey about for now. Have you been arrested in the game yet? Yes, and if so, what is the prison system like? I mentioned it earlier, but if you get arrested and you can't afford the fine, they just pretty much fine you your experience. Yeah. And it's not like you're in a cell and you got to actually wait like in-game time. You just kind of show up at the security guard office and they say, hey, it's been a week. And so if you had any time-sensitive missions that you were on, you would fail those. And they also charge you experience. Okay, 334 people still on the stream. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. We're trying to wrap this up so I can just get a few moments to rest before setting up the Let's Play that we're doing at 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Thank you all so much for all the super chats that you're doing. I appreciate that. Let's see. Somebody asked, Usam said, how does space flight feel? Is using an Xbox controller better than a keyboard and mouse setup? I'm all Xbox and controllers, so I love it. It feels great. It really does. I'm unsure of I wouldn't have any context how to answer that on keyboard and mouse. What was your experience with the Freestar Rangers? What faction would be good for a Space Cop to play through? I think somebody asked that in the super chat already, so we talked about that. I mentioned specifically the Crimson Fleet earlier. I haven't got very far at all, like the first 2 missions into the Freestar Collective. So, but it does seem to be a different feel. I don't know. I don't want to say one way or the other. Maybe the Freestar Collective, but Crimson Fleet definitely has a bit of that like double agent Donnie Brasco vibe for sure. What is the maximum crew capacity on our ships? They, depending on how you build your ship and which ship you have, they range from 2 crew positions to, I think the most I have is 5 right now. And it's possible that upgrading your shipbuilding skills and all that, you can get more. But 2 to 5 early game. Are you able to walk onto your ship without a loading screen? No, you walk into like the loading bay area or directly to the cockpit. I feel like I saw somewhere where you could walk directly into the cockpit, but I think all the ships I've had, you have to walk into the loading bay, and then you kind of load into your ship. It's not a seamless thing. Let's see. Somebody asking questions about Asus something. I do not know, so sorry. And then, oh my gosh, last question. 11 minutes ago. How many outposts? You start out with 8 outposts that you can put around anywhere. You can put them right next to each other if you want to. And then I assume, I haven't looked specifically, but I assume you can upgrade your outpost management skills and increase that cap. Oh my gosh, we did it. We got through all the forums. Let me come back and take a look at Super Chat, see if any other ones came through. Okay, we did get a few more. Let me kind of start back from... Okay, last one we got was the Any Moons huge $50 one. Thank you again for that one. And next one was Matthew Smith again, just 15 minutes ago. How easy to get to dock and register once stolen? Pretty easy. Like once you disable an enemy ship, there's usually, it depends on the ship, but sometimes there's just like 2 or 3 guys kind of held up in the cockpit waiting for you. Other times there, I think have been as many as maybe 5 or 6 crew on board that I had to fight through to get to the cockpit. So that's the hardest part. But once you get it, it could happen to where maybe you come across a firefight and you have to kind of fight your way out of that to get somewhere. But as long as you have access to fast travel to a starport, and you don't have contraband on your ship, then you can fly it there, and whenever you land on the starport, it's yours. And you don't have to register it, but it is still your ship. If you get it to a starport, it is your ship. You do not have to register it. You can still fly it as is, but if you want to sell it or customize it in any way, you do have to register that. Good questions. Game 6 Clay super chatted, I guess the mixed reviews in the media based off the hype around the game. If this game came from a indie studio, I guess we would see higher rankings. Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely a lot of media biased, probably not in favor of Starfield. I have a feeling user reviews are going to be very, 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 very high. There will, no doubtedly, I'm sure some creators right now are working on a way to get a video out about. My brain just shut down. What's it called? Review bombing. I'm sure there will be review bombing of Starfield whenever it comes out. I actually want to post my written review onto Metacritic, but I'm sure there will be review bombing. It's the internet. It's just what people do. But yes, there's definitely probably a media bias against it. As I mentioned earlier, hating Starfield gets clicks, and it's too basic to root for Starfield. Okay, and that was it. All right, so no more super chats, no more forum posts. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. I would kind of like go through the chat and hang out with you guys, but I'm doing a Let's Play here in about 30 minutes. I want to let my voice rest, make myself some tea, and get my setup taken care of. Before you go, I do want to say, okay, hold on. I want to say again, hold on. All right, I'm back. Okay. Not because I think it's cool. I do think it's cool, and I'm very appreciative of it, but more because I want to publicly thank them again. Bethesda did send me a lot of cool stuff. They sent me a Stream Deck, which I'm pretty sure in my first video I pronounced it as Steam Deck several times and got it wrong, but it's a Stream Deck, a Starfield-themed Stream Deck, and it looks really cool. I have not been able to hook it up and see how to use it yet, so you won't be getting any of those cool features just yet from me, but expect a streaming update improvement, hopefully. And then they also sent me a gaming mouse and this really cool bomber jacket. And so I just want to say publicly thank you to Bethesda for doing that. I was already covering the game. I was already excited about it. Would have given it just as much high praise in my review, but very kind and generous of them to show a little love to smaller creators like me. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I am going to leave the stream up, leave chat open. You guys feel free to stay on there, hang out. I'm going to put the ending screen up and throw one little ad break on there, but stay in the chat as long as you want to. And I don't know if I'm going to leave this chat up or this stream up and just do the Let's Play from here, or if I'll close it down and start a new one. I don't know yet. I haven't thought that far ahead. Things are moving very fast today. Thank you guys for being patient with me. I appreciate it. I'm just a dude who loves video games, and I'm glad you all are along for the ride. Enjoyed hanging out with you. Thank you so much for all the super chats. Thank you to all the patrons and supporters and everyone who took advantage of that free 7-day trial on Patreon. You can check out those links in the description. And for now, may you find wonder as you journey through the stars.